Okay, so that was a bit of a tragedy for the French. We were doing pretty well, and we could not maintain our centre. So Charlie's destroyed that foremost brigade and is looking to exploit into that gap. Luckily I've got my reserves near at hand, so should be able to plug that gap temporarily. Charlie has also brought his reserve brigade on now, here in the centre. So it looks like he's going for a full central attack, no subtlety. Alright, we'll move on with charges in turn 8. British to go first. Alright, so the British have taken the village and in good position on this right hand flank. Gave the French the benefit of the doubt. Their 18-inch retreat just about kept them on the game mat. I'm not quite sure whether it's exactly the same point as the table edge, but anyway, I give them the benefit of the doubt. So they are still faltering. 2 brigades, 2 battalions in retreat, which means a full to test next turn for those battalions. So mixed results in the hand-to-hand combat. French cavalry winning on the right, pushing the British cavalry back, but the British making good progress on the right flank and indeed in the centre. On we go with turn 9. Okay, so Charlie's allocating his ADCs. Don't want to bring anything on from reserve. You've got your other heavy cavalry brigade, remember?
No.
Not yet.
I have what I did. You have to do your fault test, remember? So.
Yeah, okay. I've only got 5 ADCs this turn. I have to allocate 2, or I will allocate 2. Don't have to allocate 2, I have to allocate 1 to my faltering brigade over there. Then I think I want to put 1 on my reserve and 1 on my cavalry reserve, and then I'm going to put 1 on my dragoons because I want them to be able to charge. Let's roll for activation then, Charlie. Should we do the French first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, starting with the front dragoon brigade, that's active. My rear brigade, which was hesitant last turn and is still in retreat mode, is no longer in retreat or hesitant, but it is unformed as they are. Alright, my brigade in the village. They have 1 unit retreating. I don't know why I ride 2 dice, but they passed anyway. So they are no longer retreating.
You should have rolled it again like I always have to, Dad, when I roll that.
Well, but they were both a 3, they were both a 3.
If I got both passes, you'll tell me to roll it again.
Probably, Charlie, probably, Charlie. I need every help I can get. And then for my cavalry, active. My guard reserve, active. My brigade, artillery brigade, is hesitant. My infantry brigade behind it is active. So the artillery brigade is hesitant. And there's 2 casualties that are on that gun. There. Okay, my brigade here in the centre is active. And then my falter test. Okay, so this is important.
How many dice
So I've just got 1 hesitant brigade, have I? Yeah, there's 1 hesitant brigade so far. Alright, falter test for these guys. Trying to make sure this flank doesn't completely collapse. 6, we'll keep that. That's a rally.
How many casualties do you have?
Well, not too many actually. 3 in the front one and 6 in the rear one.
So if they do lose 1 combat, they'll go off the table. So.
Well, they're not in a great shape, but you've suffered quite a lot of casualties as well. Your KGL brigades took a lot of casualties taking the village. All right. That sounds like lunch is being called. We'll let Charlie do his activation, and then we'll crack on.
Active, so they're.
My brigade's active as well. Yeah.
I have artillery shot on both guns to fire at your cavalry both guns. These guys active. These troops here, the reinforcements, are active. Portuguese active. KGL
Hesitant.
Hesitant. So I thought I got it wrong. But there's only 1 hesitant on both sides.
Okay, so let's just roll for initiative, and then we'll go and have our lunch.
Oh, that's artillery assault. Artillery assault.
And the hesitant marker to go on the KGL. We'll do that in a sec.
Got a hesitant.
Okay.
Oh no, that's retreat. That should go off because they're
No,
active.
they're still unformed though because they are active.
But they're active. Where's
the KGL. Right, let's roll for initiative. 9.
Why did you roll a dice again?
No, there's 2 dice, isn't it?
You rolled 2 dice. I saw
Yes, I
you.
rolled a 3 and then a 6. So I rolled 2. I just did them separately.
You rolled 2 and then you rolled another one.
You did. I'll show you the video to prove it. Alright, you roll your 2 dice.
Got 7.
Okay, so the French have initiative. Alright, we'll go and have lunch and then we'll do turn 9. Okay, we're starting turn 9 with the charge phase. French have initiative, and I think we're going to charge with our dragoons. Okay, so there have been a number of charges this turn. The French have charged their dragoons into the light dragoon regiment. They didn't want to wheel and hit the unformed unit because the light dragoons could have countercharged them, whereas the unformed unit can't itself do a charge, so they're safe going in against the light dragoons. So we move across to the centre. Prince Joseph's Lancers, King Joseph's Lancers, have charged in against the 95th Rifles. They'll do a charge reaction to try and form a square. They're from just over 9 inches away. Then in the centre, the Portuguese line have charged up the hill and are assaulting this French infantry brigade. So that's all the charges. We'll do charge, defensive fire, and then reactions. Okay, starting with the dragoons, charging the light dragoons. So both are supported, the light dragoons to their flank and the French dragoons to their rear. So both get a reroll. Pretty good dice rolls. The French have got an 11, the British have got a 9. I think the British will go for a reroll. Oh, that wasn't good, so the British are on a 6. Okay, then charge modifiers. The British add 1 because they count as a veteran. Both will attach generals, so that cancels each other out. The French are heavy cavalry, so we add 1. But we are campaign cavalry, so we lose 1. Back down to 11. Neither are unformed. The French have 2 casualties, the British have 2 casualties, so that has no effect. I think that's it. The British got narrower frontage, so they lose a further 1. So it's 11 against 7. So we've won by 4. So that's a melee with a LAN. Alright, we'll move those units in. Right, moving down the table, we're going to do a defensive volley as the French try and drive off the Portuguese charge. So that's going to be a standard volley at short range. We've rolled an 8. So standard volley, short range 8 is 3 casualties. They had taken no casualties, and the target is not a column or in cover. So 3 casualties to the Portuguese, but no discipline test, so they do charge. Complete the charge result. Like that. Right, 4 casualties now. Right, this will make the charge harder for the Portuguese, because they'll because they suffered 3 casualties in the turn. Alright, the Portuguese are supported, unfortunately, from the position of the French battalions at the rear. Probably should have been closer. They're not actually providing support, they're not within 3 inches. Okay, let's roll the charge results. Oh, again, a good charge result for the French. They've rolled a 7. British have rolled an 8. They do have a re-roll. Well, am I going to risk it? Yes, I think I will. Well, the British will hang on. So they are... let's look at charge results. Both are on the same morale. I'll attach my general, so will the Portuguese. So they have no benefit. They're not unformed. Okay, no, so 3 casualties in the charge is -2 onto the Portuguese. So they are on 6, so they've lost by 4. So -4, attacker retires. And automatically takes 1 casualty. Best we can get to is -2, which would be to do a volley if I roll a 6. I think we'll go with that. The Portuguese will retire. Okay, and now importantly we've got the form square test for the British here. So it's a discipline test, but unfortunately it's at -2 because they've taken 8 casualties. And I think there's also a modifier for trying to form square, which is another -1. But they are veterans, so that will be cancelled out by +1. So it's a test at -2. They roll a 7. -2, that becomes a 5. They go unformed, and unfortunately don't form a square. This is not going to go well for the British. Okay, and now the charge results against an unformed line. Let's see how the British do. Both have rolled a 7. Alright, so the British are veterans, so they go up to an 8. But they've got 8 casualties, so they would lose 2, so that goes down to a 6. They are unformed, so they lose another 2. I am Lancers versus infantry, so the French go up to 8. Infantry in line versus cavalry loses another 2. They're down to 2. And no casualties on the French. Brigade's not hesitant. Okay, so the cavalry have won by 6. Cavalry versus infantry. 6 plus, victory. The cavalry take 1 casualty and the defenders are ridden down. That's not good for the British. The 95th Rifles have just fallen and that brigade will falter. So now we have tough decision for the French. We do have the ability to charge on, which would take us into the elite 52nd light. I think it's 52nd right. No, actually that's the 91st Highland Light. Still a veteran unit without any casualties. So we can have a go at charging on and going into them, which I think we would then be unformed. I would have to check that. Or we hold the ground. I think we might hold the ground rather than charge on. No, it's not it. We're going to charge on. It's much more guard cavalry appropriate. So we go 3d6. That should be enough. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 inches. Okay, we have another charge result. It just occurred to me that the 95th Rifles, as they failed to form square, were still in line and simply had gone unformed, failing that test. I'm not sure whether that meant they would be able to fire a defensive volley. If you form square, you can't. If you don't form square, you can. So I rolled the dice anyway, just to see if I should have inflicted any casualties on the charging lancers. I only rolled a 5. If anyone's got any insights on that, it would be good to hear. I think on balance, if you fail to form a square, you're still in a line, you can fire an inferior volley, but you would also be unformed, so it'll be an inferior volley at -2, but that might be a bit generous. Alright, so we are outside charge distance. This is an elite unit with no casualties, so it will try and form square. +2 to this roll. Gets a 10. Yeah, so that looks like it will be fine. The 91st Scottish Light formed square successfully. Right, we'll now charge home against a square. It's very hard for cavalry to achieve. Yeah, especially with a roll like that. So there's no chance of the French breaking the square, so cavalry versus square. Cavalry retire with 1 casualty, and the square loses 1 casualty as well. We'll do those moves. Okay, so that's all charging complete. We'll now move on to firing. Okay, on with firing, and I'll point out where units have moved as well, because there's been some movement as well at the same time. So the light dragoons have reformed, and we await the combat on the right flank. Down here, the French dragoons, the seriously mauled ones, have done a voluntary retire behind their colleagues, just to reorder their formation, get them into a better space. And in the village, the 2nd French Battalion has now reformed itself. The British have moved forward through the wheat fields and are now in a position to start volleying the village, and the French artillery will be able to respond. We'll start with firing over here. Firstly, firing out of the village at the 95th Rifles. We'll just check the range. Yeah, that'll be within 12. So 3 dice at the 95th Rifles, at the 32nd Cornwall, I think it is. They're the ones with the white flag. We'll fire that first. No effect. Right, the French artillery, I think, does not really have in arc the 95th Rifles. We'll just reposition that base. Want it there because I don't want it to fall off. There. Not sure they're really very much in 45-degree arc from the artillery battery. So the artillery will fire at the skirmishers, so this will be at -2. A 7 at short range. That will be quite effective. Looking for my casualty tables. Probably only be 1 or 2 casualties there. Superior, close range 7 is 2 casualties, but it's -2 for firing a skirmisher, so it's 1 casualty on that skirmisher screen. They've already taken 2, so we lose 1 base from the rifleman. Okay, there's the artillery fired. Then we've got a French skirmisher screen over here, 2 dice to go against the 95th Rifles. 1 casualty on that base. Alright, they'd only taken 1 casualty so far. Quite difficult to move one-handed. It's to 2. Alright, then we will fire the right-hand artillery battery. And we're going to go against that infantry battery that is behind it. We will give them cover because they're behind the scrub line. So firing the artillery. 9. I think we'll just check the range on that. I think it'll be just effective range, but I'll just make sure. No, the firing is all at short range. So short range, 9 is 3 casualties and a discipline test. So we'll just do the discipline test and let's see how many casualties the battalion's taken. It's already taken 8, so it'll take 2 more. Fix it on to 10. I can't mark that. I'll just go and do the markers, but it's on 10 casualties. And another casualty on that skirmish screen. We'll do the discipline test at -2. A 4. That's going to be a retreat result for the British. So a bit of Charlie's own medicine on him there. That was 2 casualties from the artillery fire. They got a retreat result from their discipline test. They then had to take 1d3 casualties, and they took 2. They were remaining 8, so that takes them to 12 casualties. So that battalion has disintegrated, and the British brigade that was formerly attacking in the centre is now faltering. Right, we will then fire for good measure our second artillery battery at the other one, at close range. That's nothing, that's a fatigue casualty for the French. Alright, then we will fire our French infantry battalion here. That's an inferior volley, because it deploys this turn. It will fire at the British battalion it's facing. It rolls a 7, inferior volley is 1 casualty on the British. They're only on 1, that takes them up to 2. Alright, we'll then fire a volley at the British or Dutch Belgians, not Dutch Belgian, get my language right, Portuguese skirmishers. This will be at -2. This battalion didn't move, so it should be a standard volley. We've rolled a 9, so that's a 7. Standard volley is 2 casualties on those skirmishers. I'll mark that with a dice and come back up. Looks like their casualty marker. No, that's the casualty marker for the infantry battalion. We'll mark that with dice and then come back to it. We've got a small screen of 2 skirmishers here who will fire. They do nothing, and then we'll do a volley into the town from our reformed infantry battalion down here. They've got 3 casualties, so no penalty for that, but this will be an inferior volley because they moved this turn. They've scored a 7, inferior volley. There's 1 casualty against the KGL in the town. I think that's it for... Oh no, we've still got the French artillery battery as well. And the ones in the town have now got 6 casualties. But the French artillery battery unlimbered this turn, so we won't fire it because we're quite likely to get a casualty test, and that will then take us down to -1 because it's a -2 and it's half effect and it's firing into cover, so we want to be in as good a possible state to fire that artillery battery. Alright, I think that's everything fired for the French. We'll go on to hand-to-hand combat. Okay, doing the French cavalry attack in this corner. So we start with 5 dice for the French dragoons, then the heavy cavalry, so they gain 2, and they've got a land, so they gain 3 dice. And they have no casualties, only 2 casualties so far. The British start with 5 casualties, they lose 1 for being unformed. They are a morale grade better, so they add a dice. Both are large units. That is it, and the British casualties are 2, so there's no casualty benefit. Alright, let's start with the French. Wow, that looks good. 4, 5, 6, 7. They've definitely won this combat. The British don't do too badly. They caused 3 casualties, but they've lost by 4. That'll be a crushing victory for the French, and the British will rout off the table. Okay, so Charlie got 6 ADCs. He had 3 faltering brigades, so he's deployed 2 to each faltering brigade. So there's some really important roles here for activation and faltering brigades.
First falter. 5. Isn't that just a rally?
That's a good result. So you are obey orders. So yeah, they just carry on as normal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's even better. So they're not unformed or anything.
Okay. Now
The brigade up here.
they are active.
The brigade next to them.
Active.
The
Now,
next faltering brigade.
5. The exact same.
Same thing. They're in good shape then. When this happens to Dad, he loses whole brigades. When this happens to Charlie, he saves at least 2 of them.
So now this brigade?
Yep.
5.
Again, 3 5s in a row. That's outstanding result. Well done, Charlie. All your brigades are intact and in good state.
Are they not hesitant?
They're not even hesitant. They all got obey orders.
So, also they're hesitant last time, so...
Yeah.
Now then, here we are. Hesitant. Portuguese, active.
KGL.
Yeah.
Hesitant.
Shouldn't the KGL be elites?
No, they're just line troops. They're not really KGL. They're just normal battalions. But I'm just using my KGL troops. Okay. So you had 2 hesitants, did you?
Yeah.
The KGL. Do you want to put a hesitant marker on
I
the
have
reinforcement brigade?
Oh yeah, I had 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll roll for mine, starting with my heavy cavalry brigade, active. My heavy cavalry in the rear, active. My guys in the village, hesitant. Go down there. My King's Guard cavalry, active.
They're not King's Guard, they're just...
They're King Joseph's Guard cavalry.
Are they weak still?
Yeah, they're not very good. King Joseph's infantry are active. The reserve brigade behind the hill with the artillery, active. The artillery itself, active. The brigade on the hill before the village, active. And the brigade outside the village, active. The French are all active.
No, they're not all active.
Oh yeah, 1 hesitant. But I only got a 4. So I roll a 3.
5. 6, I mean 6.
And you were -2, so you've got a 4. So you have the initiative. Charlie has the initiative by 1. Alright, all the actions on this end of the table at the beginning of this turn. We think turn 10, might be turn 9, I think turn 10. Charlie's 95th Rifles have charged into the village. He's following the logic that if he loses the cavalry combat up here, I'll just be able to swing round and hit him in the rear. So better to go in sooner rather than later. So he's attacking hard there. His hussars have taken the opportunity of my dragoons overextending themselves to charge me in the flank. I in turn have charged him in the front into his quite weakened light dragoons. So there'll probably be an exchange here as Charlie drives me off, but I might drive off his more weakened unit.
I could make you have to fall back up them.
Yep.
So I could still survive that one.
So I do get a defensive volley up here first against your guys charging in. That's 1 casualty on the 95th Rifles.
The first casualty of the whole game.
Yeah, I think it is. Do you want to put that on the marker?
Why has it got up to 18 casualties?
I don't know, Charlie. Come on.
I had to go across 18 to 18.
Alright, okay. Let's do the charge reactions down here then.
So this one first?
Do the flank one first. Neither of us have got any support, so we just do a basic roll. Not very good for me. Not very good for Charlie. 3 against 5. Probably our worst rolls ever.
I'm going to attach my general to this one.
Okay, so you want to try and win that one. Okay, so that takes you up by 1, Charlie. And then you're 1 morale grade better than me as well.
It's 5.
I lose 1 because I am
Flanked.
campaign cavalry.
You're flanked.
I'm flanked, so I lose 2. I've got 5 casualties, so I lose another 1. I think that's it.
Yeah.
You've got 5. How many casualties you got? None.
None.
Okay, so you win by 4. So you melee with a land, I melee unformed.
That's annoying for you because you're flanked too.
I know, I think I'm definitely going to lose this one. Let's do the other one then.
I could win this one. I need to get you to have a bad roll.
Yeah, again, none of us have got any supports. Ah, double 6. That didn't get a destiny test. And an 11! Wow. All right, so Charlie, you lose 2, I think. How many casualties have you got? 9. So you lose 2. I lose 1 for battle cavalry.
I could still win this because I got a 9.
I'm heavy cavalry, so I add 1, which I probably should have done on the other one, but it wouldn't have made any difference. I'm starting again. I rose 12. I'm heavy cavalry, I gain 1. I'm campaign cavalry, I lose 1.
You're
Same frontage.
I'm a high morale grade.
You're higher morale category.
So I'm 10.
You're 10. Okay.
It's combat.
Okay, so it's just straight melee, I think. Yep, 1 to 2. Yep, attacker melees and you countercharge and melee. So we're into 2 melees here. Charlie's done quite well with those rolls. Right, so we'll move on from the mass cavalry combat down here and go on to shooting. Charlie, first your artillery battery. It's got artillery assault. What are you going to be firing at?
I'm firing at the cavalry.
Okay, let's do that. And you've got artillery assault on, haven't you? No, you haven't.
Oh yeah, they should be off.
Yeah.
I'll put it on the side because they're probably going to get it again in the whole game.
Okay.
Shooting at the cavalry.
Yeah.
8.
Oh, I had a destiny test to do as well, didn't I?
Yeah, it's up here.
8 is 1 casualty. What was it on, Charlie? Do you remember?
It was on them.
The guys who did the defensive volley out the building.
Yeah.
Let's just see what they got for that.
There's no doubt that they can't. It wouldn't. No, it doesn't do anything.
Why?
Because skirmish fire doesn't count.
Oh
no, it was the charge. It was the charge.
It was the charge reaction, wasn't
But
it?
it just recovers casualty and they have no casualties.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it will do anything.
It won't do anything.
Yeah, recover 1 casualty and I have no casualties.
Doesn't do anything.
Or melee with a lamb. So I am meleeing with a lamb. Okay. We'll just have to remember that. I'll put a dice down there to try and remember. Okay, so that's...
I got 8 with my artillery.
Okay, I'll mark it up. That's 1 more casualty on the guard lancers. Next one.
It's going to fire at the same target.
Okay.
5. It's
That'll
half
be
casualty.
half a casualty.
Casualty.
Yeah. Okay, so they're now on 4.
I'm going to fire these skirmishes at your skirmishes.
Okay.
3 dice?
3 dice, yeah.
2
2
damage.
casualties. I'll mark those up. Okay.
Shooting at the artillery with my skirmishes.
Yeah. 3 dice.
2
2
casualties.
casualties. They're on 8 now, so they're now firing at -2.
I'm going to shoot. I'm going to volley them.
Okay. That's a superior volley 4. I think it's just a fire discipline.
This artillery is going to shoot at that infantry battalion there.
On the hill, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's at medium range. Do you?
Yeah, and you've probably got bounce through too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's at long range.
8.
That's
1
1 casualty.
with
And a bounce through.
There's casualty.
Alright.
And my built-up area has to fire at your.
Yeah, let me just get some dice on there. 2 casualties there. And 1 on them. And was it the left hand or the right one that
It was
you were firing on?
the light one.
That one?
Yeah, the powerful one.
That one, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you've got the built-up area. And my infantry battalion down there.
2 casualties.
They're on 5 now.
And my
Alright, and your
skirmishes.
skirmishers.
2 dice.
Yeah, where do you want to fire them? You can split the fire. You could do 2 into my battalion.
Yeah, 2 into that battalion,
and
2
2 into
that.
the skirmishers. So the skirmishers only get 1 dice.
Yeah, but I'm probably gonna. Yeah, your skirmishers are all gone.
Yeah.
And my other skirmisher is going to shoot. Do nothing.
No, it's 2 dice though because he was firing some normal
yeah.
target. So roll one more. Just roll 1 more. Yeah.
1 casualty.
Okay, that costs 2. And you've got your Portuguese skirmishers as well.
2 dice.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay,
Portuguese volley.
Portuguese volley, yeah. Let's just check that range. Do you want to get the tape measure, Charlie?
But that is definitely in
All right, well, I'll check it after you've shot. Let's do a shoot and then we'll check the range just to make
'Cause
sure. It's
they're-
only a 9-inch range, remember?
Because they're closer than them and they managed to shoot.
Well, we'll check the range. 8. All right, we'll check the range, come back. Charlie's feeling optimistic. He's just said he thinks he's got a really good chance of winning.
I
Right.
see so many casualties for you, Dad.
So all the firing is done down here. We will do the artillery fire against the 95th Rifles. A 7 at close range at -2 becomes a 5. That's 1 casualty on the 95th Rifles. One casualty marker for them. We'll find a green one.
So this is the bags.
Yeah, just put bags down. We've got my skirmishers here against your 95th Rifle skirmishers. Only 2 dice. 1 casualty, but you do lose a base. So he's dead, and actually there's a 95th Rifles casualty base if you want to.
I just
They're
put
dead. Go put them there, put them over there. Okay. Then we'll fire these guns against your skirmishers in the woods. So that's at -3. But it's close range.
6, that's 6.
2 casualties.
Oh, they are so lucky. They're gone.
Well, there's 3 of them there.
They're gone, but one of the bases are gone.
Oh, right, okay.
All of them are gone.
No, because you've got 3 bases.
I didn't say all of them were gone. I said one base was gone.
Oh, right, okay.
I never said they were all gone.
Right, I'm going to fire that gun against the green battalion that's in front of it. 3. That's a casualty on itself.
How many
That's very good.
How many countries does it have?
2 on that one, 8 on that one. Ah, yeah, it should have been -2, shouldn't it?
Yeah. So it was 5.
9, and it was a 9, wasn't it?
It was 9 minus
should have
3 is 5.
And then it should have been minus another 2. So I wouldn't have done anything, so you could put it back. Alright, this infantry battalion, it's now stationary. It will fire back at you. Standard volley. 6
Okay.
is 1 casualty against the green battalion.
How many countries have they taken?
However many it says,
You
John.
can look.
Oh, 2. So this one at -1, volleying the Portuguese. 7 becomes a 6. They moved, so that's an inferior volley. That's 1 casualty.
Well, no, 7 minus 1 is 6, so it's 1 casualty because they did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Half that is none.
Why is it halved?
Because you just moved.
Inferior volley.
You half
6. You don't halve it, you're using the inferior volley. If you move. So
The
it's
fire
this one
station
casualty.
is going. Okay.
Okay, and firing the French battalion against the village. 10 is a
9.
standard volley. Is -1, so that becomes a 9. So that's 3 casualties. You halve it is 1, and a discipline test. So you need to do a discipline test on them. And then I'm going to fire my artillery at effective range into the village. 8
At
is a
mine
1, and
is
you
7.
halve it is a 0. So that's nothing.
Okay, my
So
discipline test at -1. 4 minus 1 is.
Becomes a
They're
3.
still unformed. They're just unformed.
Unformed, yeah. So you could retire them next turn if you wanted
Yeah,
to.
I'm going to do that.
All right, so they just hang on into the village. Charlie was lucky there. I think that's all my firing. And there we are, the end of turn 10. Still very close.
I could
In this
destroy
game.
all your batteries, and you have a fortress there, and I might be able to destroy your cavalry because I might bring some heavy cavalry. Destroy them, so that'd be 3 battalions
Yeah.
gone.
Let's move on to the combat in turn 10. With the flank charge by Charlie's Light Hussars. So we both start with 5 dice. I lose 1 for being unformed. I gain 2 for being heavy cavalry.
You lose 1 from
I
flank.
lose 1 for my casualties.
You lose 1 for your flank.
And I'm attacked in flank, so I lose 1.
You're on 4.
So I'm on 4.
You're
on 5.
I'm battle cavalry +1.
No, I think that's just in the charge test. You're...
No, it is. It's also in the combat.
Okay, well, let's see. So you start with 5.
Yep.
You're a morale grade above me. That makes you go to 6.
Mm-hmm.
You're meleeing with a land. That makes you go to 7.
Yep.
That's it. So you've got 7?
What about
I've got
that?
4. Well, you've already done that. I took them off me
Okay.
because I was attacked in the flank. All right. You're all right. Get 2 casualties. Charlie does 4. So you win by 2. Cavalry versus cavalry. You return to your own lines, and I retreat. Yeah, you're in your own lines anyway.
So,
I retreat.
it's a close
Okay,
one.
doing the second combat.
This is close. You need to do 3 if you want to destroy mine, but I could win this too.
Okay. Oh no, only 1 casualty?
Yes, 3!
My god, they win! How do you do that? Oh dear. So I lose by 2, that's another retreat result. So that's 2 retreats, and my brigade is indeed faltering. I thought it would be the other way around.
And this time...
Alright, now doing the British attack on the village. 95th Rifles going in, we both get 5 dice. Charlie gets 1 extra dice for being a veteran, but loses 1 for attacking a built-up area.
You actually know that you do not want a second round. That's elite. So I get 7 dice from them and 6 from them.
I only cause 1 casualty.
And I cause 4.
I don't think I get a second round. Charlie wins by 3. I know. Right, let's roll for ADCs. So, I get 6 dice because I've lost a brigade. I get... Was that 3 or 4? I thought that was 4 ADCs. Charlie?
Oh, no, 3.
How many dice? You get more dice than that.
I only get
brigades?
6 because I got 6 brigades. There's
You've
7.
got 1, 2, 3, 4,
I
5,
had 8. I had
6,
8.
7, 8. You got at least 8 on the table.
Yeah, I rolled 2 more. So I get 1 more. And then I get to roll 1 more.
You get your automatic one,
Oh yeah.
and you've got your reserve one.
Yeah. So 3 dice.
For the heavy cavalry.
It's coming.
Right.
3 dice from them.
Okay.
I think that's mad, but it works. It can just batter you down with them.
Yeah.
And I really don't need anyone else to be active. I might as well put it on this brigade here.
So I'm going to put 2 on my cavalry to try and recover them from a fall to test. I'm going to then put 1 on my guard infantry for a reroll. And 1 from my brigade on the hills facing off against the Portuguese for a reroll. I'll roll mine starting with the brigade opposite your village at the far end is active. The one facing the Portuguese is active. The one reinforcing the artillery brigade is hesitant. The artillery brigade is active. The do you want to put 1 just by the one that's reinforcing the artillery brigade, just so I remember?
This one?
Yeah, it's that one. They're hesitant. Then the Royal Guard foot is active. The Royal Guard cavalry is active. And then this village is active. And my reserve Dragoon brigade is active. So I've just got 1 hesitant brigade. Charlie, your go for activation.
Falter.
Oh, the falter test. Oh yes, I must remember that. All right, let's roll the falter. 3.
They retire.
I'm going to re-roll it. 4. Okay, we'll just check what a 4 is. I think it's a retire, which might just be alright. I think starting with is like cavalry.
Hesitant. Artillery assault. Artillery roll.
Hesitant.
This unit here.
Hang.
Active. Unit up here. Active. Portuguese. Active. KGL. Active.
In your reserve brigade, you haven't done that one?
My cavalry.
No, the reserve brigade on the table.
I did.
Well, you only did 1 of these 2. You didn't do both of them.
No, because the artillery is in the same brigade as these 2.
Okay. You haven't done those 2 brigades.
No. First one, active.
Yeah.
The one on the wrong, active.
Okay. And then your cavalry reserve arrive. Okay. Cool. Thanks, Charlie. Right, just rolling for initiative, just so you can see. Charlie has brought his heavy cavalry on. 2 regiments of dragoons. And 2 regiments of lifeguard cavalry. Quite nice. Let's kick. 3, 9. British have initiative. Alright, on we go with turn 11. As we start turn 11, time for a break and a recap of where we are. So, the British are doing quite well. They've captured both of the villages that anchor both ends of the French line. But the French have a remarkably strong position in the centre. So we have the KGL Brigade, not overly strong, occupying this position. facing a weak French brigade just outside the village. In the centre, the French are moving forward and reinforcing their position on this hill with all fresh battalions. And we still have our 2 very strong artillery batteries, although they've taken quite a lot of casualties now. And we're just launching our counterattack into the centre of the Allied line. We'll see whether we can do some damage with that. The British still intent on breaking this hilltop position. We've got the Portuguese and 2 British battalions now moving into the line to start exchanging volleys with the French. I will probably come off worse from that, but I do have the artillery support, so I'm not 100% sure. I think I am still worried about what I do on the right. These infantry battalions are reasonably good, my guard, but they're only grenadier quality. And I have lost this village. So it might be a matter of counter-attacking into the edge of the village. So that'll give me some protection from the British cavalry, which is going to start rampaging now. He's got another 4 regiments of heavies to support his light regiment. And my dragoons have done well to tie up his cavalry so far in the game, but I think their time is definitely numbered. And having lost this village, I've lost the anchor to the right-hand side of my line. So rather than counter-attacking into the centre, which would probably result me being caught in the open plain by his heavy cavalry, I think I'll slightly switch the attack across into this village. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. I'll probably upload this video now and bring the conclusion of this game to you next weekend. Enjoy the video, everyone. We'll see how this one ends up.